Hello, hello, how are you? Welcome back to Life Trials by EAC with your favorite model and political analyst. How are you guys? I hope everybody's doing very well. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Friday afternoon here on the east coast of Florida in Davie. It is about 3:09 p.m. If you would like to support this podcast, don't forget, please visit 𝑬𝒑𝒊𝒔𝒕𝒚 and subscribe to all the platforms that are hosting this podcast. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You guys know que es critical for my growth, okay? So today, without further ado, in today's episode, I wanted to bring to you guys, the daily debacle of, the headliners of today's political news. And we all know the chaos that ensued over the previous weekend overseas in Afghanistan. And this is rather disturbing, and honestly, it brings upon such a sense of sadness for me. So for myself, for those Gold Star families, those veterans that came home disabled and have had their lives changed forever, okay? Those are the first people that I want to say right now that are completely devastated with what has occurred here, okay? It is despicable what has occurred and the way in which the American military went about such a departure, okay? And it's so crazy because was it in any consideration for those veterans that lost their lives, Gold Star families, those Afghan soldiers that lost their lives as well, and those that are forever have their lives horrifyingly changed forever? What about them? No, the Biden administration doesn't really care about the military. Like, it's all a facade. So along with the bloodshed of American souls that were lost in Afghanistan, fighting a meaningless war that had never ever had any initial long-term purpose. I don't know what the fuck we were doing there after they killed Osama bin Laden. I don't know why. I have no fucking idea why the hell we were still over there. There you go. That's the military industrialized complex here in America, along with the intelligence community. There you go. They love war and they want us in every single one of them all day, every day. The truth about Afghanistan is that it's been such a wasteful project for the military industrial complex. It took the Taliban 1 week to form a coup and take the sitting government the U.S. placed out. Quick. They came in there so quick, wiped everybody out, and didn't give a fuck. That's crazy. It took us 20 years to have some stability there, and it took the Taliban literally less than 7 days to just wipe all of that out. So there's a really big problem here we have on our hands, but I guess Biden is nowhere to be found, really. Biden in April insisted and assured that the Taliban would never, ever have a chance of taking over the region because of the 300,000 soldiers that were trained by the U.S. Army, all this stuff, they will be super well equipped, they're ready to go, and how quickly such a large amount of people cowered and they either teamed up with the terrorists or are trying to flee the country with the rest of everybody in that country. Complete disaster. The world is on fire. Literally, like, the world is on fire, bro. We have Cuba, North Korea, fucking China, COVID-19, bro. Like, and what is this president doing, bro? Nothing. Worrying about Donald Trump and a fake ass January 6th commission. I mean, it's really crazy when you look at it from the outside world and you're sitting there wondering, where is America? I mean, we're not even here, bro. Really bad. And we look super bad. It's been a complete disaster. Like I just mentioned, I'm not sure why we stayed 10 years after they killed Osama bin Laden, but the only people that really know that is the intelligence agency that decided to begin this project. They're really the overall learning project with assisting Afghan farmers with growing opioids. And how weird that Afghanistan is the world's leading, how do you say it? It's the leading country with the most amount of opioids. Like, they make the most, they sell it all to the world, pretty much. They're the headquarters of that shit. And is that why we were in Afghanistan for 20 years? And then we have an opioid crisis here in America? Isn't it just so weird how everything is just falling into place, you know? Not to say that the previous presidents, and we're not talking about really Trump, because obviously Trump was an outsider and he really didn't have any political experience, and he came in and just really did the best that he could with what he had at the moment. But obviously talking about Obama and the Bush, and obviously Bush, that was just really bad. And we should have got out after that situation, but of course not, because I guess America, we love war, we love to be in war, we love to be the police of the world. And I get it, we need to be, to some capacity, assuring that the world has some type of order. But to be honest with you, this project has been it's going to go down in the history books as the failed governmental project that the U.S. government has pursued. And it's just been, it's going to be a stain on this presidency. You better know that. So why did this happen so quickly, right, is the biggest question that we're all having, right? So the Biden administration decided to withdraw troops in such a disorderly manner because of their insidious political agenda, upon which they obviously had no exit strategy here, causing such a destruction and the fall of an entire country. And obviously you could tell it's going horribly, horribly. Such a severe humanitarian crisis for the entire continent, right? And they're just offering these visas or asylum for these refugees, excuse me. And isn't it interesting how they won't do the same thing for Cubans that are fleeing political persecution, and that are seeking political asylum in the United States, just as these Afghan refugees. But then again, everything is very political with these people. They do not care. They do not care about people. They do not care about the American citizens. They don't care about who's coming across the border. We've already had over 1 million and something people within 7 months. We've already had 1 million people cross over the border. And then we're over here wondering, like, why is our country becoming overly populated, much more expensive, and there are generations of people that will never and ever have the ability to be able to pursue the American dreams because of the economies that they've had to live through, and how, politics plays such an enormous role in our daily lives. And it's interesting because I met somebody recently who really didn't feel like that until we spoke, and we ensued our discussions about politics, and lo and behold, they finally saw the reasoning and what I was trying to say, and understood how politics does play an enormous role in our everyday lives. Welcome to America, ladies and gentlemen. We're just open borders, free stuff, falling economy, free college, free everything. So of course people are like fucking holding on to planes, bro, just to get over here. However, this is the fall of the Democratic Party attempting to further destroy America's sense of pursuing our national security interests and policies. But their nonsensical, insidious way of dealing with foreign policy is affecting our ability enormously to be able to maintain a global national alliance with respects to our strength, and being able to have other world powers join in. Everything with the last 5 years with Russia, blaming Russia, right? and that it was a staged coup, and that's why Trump was president, all that stuff. Of course, none of that was true. I hope that people in the higher ups of the FBI are, like really persecuted for that shit, because let me tell you something, that was some serious shit. But you know what that did in turn? It did cause a rift between, global dominance on this global stage between two world powers, United States and Russia. And instead of just trying to work with Russia, the media wanted to vilify the country itself just because they had this interpretation that Russia was for Trump. So you see, when we need whenever we need an alliance, obviously we never go to Russia, but it doesn't make sense because they are a world power. A lot of other countries that we look to as our allies are not, world powers. So I'm not sure what the U.S. and the strategy with respect to foreign policy and how to deal with these issues. Because if I was doing that consulting, man, we would be in a different place today, baby. So, and I have my expertise. So, however, I'm always learning every single day. As we may continue here, what we saw unfold live on television, people falling from planes, was really bad. To have seen such a situation was horrifying. It was scary. It's senseless political games this administration is playing. They can care less about the after effect of such destructive political foreign policy agendas, and they obviously did not expect this outcome, as you can well tell by today's bizarre press release by the President of the United States, who is obviously very completely out of touch, needs to go to a nursing home. I can't believe that this is the commander-in-chief. He is an extreme embarrassment to the United States. This is so shameful what happened. The Pentagon, the press secretary, what a joke they are. They don't even are honest, and they cut people off. They don't answer questions. This is crazy. Such a lack of transparency with this administration, with the media. And do you see the media going after them? No, bro. No. They had the most transparent administration in America's history, and that wasn't enough for the mainstream media. But, this type of behavior with that ridiculous show that they had today that brought no sense of peace to the American individual, and for those Gold Star families, veterans that lost their friends, lost limbs, lost their own lives, their families. I don't know what sense of peace they brought to them today with such a garbage of information that was relayed to the American people today. Let me tell you that much. And I don't understand. I can't believe that this happens, and how they've allowed for American aircraft to just simply leave people like that behind. And what I really want to discuss specifically is that issue where we all saw last weekend the people holding on to the American aircraft. And that should show you right there that people will die for our freedom that we have here in America. People would die, and they did die, just to get a sense of freedom that we live and breathe every single day. I thank God every single day that I am an American citizen and that I have these God-given rights. The freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is the most important. The freedom to bear arms. The freedom of just simply living your life as you please. These people were literally holding on to a plane that they knew they were going to die just to get that sense of hope. But seeing that happening while they're taking off, and for them to just simply leave those people behind and not even have any type of ability to bring some stability to that specific region, to at least being able to get the aircraft off the strip without having these people clamming on, and then at some juncture, once the takeoff gear goes back into the aircraft, these people are falling out of the sky. I can't even believe that we saw play out on live television such a failure of a strategy that was implemented by this current administration. And then you're wondering, like, where's the vice president? And what is she doing about what's going to happen to Afghan women and girls and the ability for them to, continue their acceleration and being able to live a prosperous life in their culture, whatever. Another inability to exert any political force or stance against what is happening now to them by any American leaders, especially the vice president. I don't even know. That lady has had the worst vice presidency of American history. She has done nothing. She has done absolutely nothing to resolve the issues on the border. Nothing. I don't even know why she's even president. You know why? Because the Democratic Party was so desperate to be in power that they were literally willing to use race as a criteria for an individual to be vice president. That is what it is. That's the fact. They're like, oh my God, we don't even care if she's a horrible human being and has the lowest relatable mutual rate in the Senate chambers to be able to engage with the opposing party. She has the least amount of that ability. And it's crazy that this person is the vice president. Mike Pence was a very personable person. He was able to deal with the Democrats, Bernie Sanders, the far extreme of his own party, aquí, acá. This lady, she treats people like they're dogs. She doesn't care about women. She doesn't care, she doesn't really, everything that she's about is a facade, She hates the white man, but she sucks the white man's dick every night. So I'm not sure, white men are the worst thing in the world. Do you tell your husband that every night? I wonder how he feels about you, bro. It's crazy to me, And this is the person that's going to be in charge of women's rights and things for women, elevating women, empowering them. This is not empowering them. This is you're not doing anything. And Afghanistan's crisis is going to be Europe's crisis. And as we all saw, there is such a lack of assimilation amongst this demographic of people from this part of the world, because at the end of the day, it's a cultural difference. Muslims do not live how Christians live or how Jews live or how other religious practices go about their lifestyles. So 2015, perfect example. There was a lot of terror attacks across European nations, bombings, decapitations of people, stabbings. But they're like, no, diversity, that's the most important thing at the cost of our own citizens. At the cost of their own citizens. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and website that is hosting my podcast, Live Trials by EAC. I have decided to keep this podcast running on YouTube for now. I would also like for you to consider supporting me on my website, @𝑬𝒑𝒈𝒉𝒕.com, as any donation is enormously appreciated to keep this podcast running. Thank you guys again for tuning into Live Trials by EAC with your favorite political analyst and model and everything else that I want to be in my life. And you're the shit. Bye.